Oh, smart you are. Okay. I'll wait until the toothbrushing is done too.
The toothbrushing?
Everybody gets to all these group projects.
Oh, that's really close. Do you want that close up on this
No
mug?
pressure. Of course, yes. Okay. We'll try some and we can, it's a beauty, but we can erase and redo if we need to. Okay. All right, thank you for being with us today, Mr. Hoops. Will you go ahead and introduce yourself and let us know who you are and where you teach?
Yeah, my name is Nathaniel Hoops. I teach in Aurora Public Schools at Elkhart Elementary, and I'm a 5th grade educator for all subjects.
Great. Well, today we are interested in learning a little bit more about the DRE2. So if you could tell us a little bit about what that looks like in your classroom and what the parents here at our PTA meeting need to know about this tool.
Well, the DRE2 assessment is a great summative assessment that we typically use at the beginning and ending of our year to get a good picture of where students are entering in at their current grade level as well as exiting, so we have a very good informational base of them entering and exiting our grades.
What do you think are the biggest advantages of using the DRE2 in your class?
Well, the DRE2 generally starts off with a great running record where we get a good picture of what the student miscues are with regular reading within a realistic text. It gives us a very good look at if they're very heavy on visual or they're very heavy on auditory and where we can move with that, as well as a fluency piece. And basically we assess those two things before we take them any farther into the comprehension aspect, in which they then will answer several questions that go into several different elements of comprehension within the text, either nonfiction or fiction, on varying different levels. Typically they go into a summary aspect as well as within the text where they're just reiterating common knowledge from in the text as well as about the text, where it's just more or less knowledge about that kind of text, whether it's nonfiction and they have a background knowledge about that, and then beyond the text in which it's more inquiry or inference based.
Great. Why should parents be excited about their students taking the DRE2?
Well, the DRE2 is a great lens in terms of visualizing and seeing where a student can currently perform at. Being a 5th grade instructor, we typically look for students coming into our grade level at a level 40, which is at the end of 4th grade, and we look for them to exit at a level 50. Generally, to be at those specific levels, you have to have a certain miscue analysis as well as fluency and comprehension, and those three things together can give us a really good image and picture at how they'll perform in standardized testing as well as current success. And as many of us know, one of the greatest ways of looking at a student's success for future is at a 3rd grade level, in which we want to see kids performing at a 30, which is the end of 3rd grade. Many studies have shown that any kid underperforming at 3rd grade have very struggles going further on with their educational career. And if we can use assessments like the DRE2, we can figure out all their miscues as well as their lacks in comprehension, so that we can fix that and make sure that they have a very successful educational career moving on from high school into collegiate.
Great. Mr. Hoops, what do you think is the biggest benefit that you see in using the DRE2 specifically?
Good question. What we typically try to do with that is it's a great asset and tool for teachers because it breaks down what is keeping students from being successful within reading. As we know, reading taps into every single academic field as well as subject, and reading is the foundation of what creates a proficient student. It gives us a great picture on what is keeping them behind, whether if it is understanding the text or whether it's reading the text or reading the text fluently. And once we can assess what the gap is that the current student is having, it's a quick way of fixing that so that we can make sure that they're successful.
Mr. Hoops, what would you say to parents who might be concerned on their students' behalf as this assessment begins, and what assurance can you offer them in terms of the psychological well-being for their kids, perhaps who may have test anxiety or anything that you would tell them to help quell the fears of their kids?
One of the easy ways of always calming that down is, stress is natural, and one thing that you can do with stress is that stress comes with great opportunity of showing success as well as skills, and the DRA2 is a great asset and tool that shows what kids can currently do as well as what they need to do next. And the greatest tool for parents with that is, one of the greatest educators is obviously the parent. They have the most contact time with them, and as long as teachers can communicate with them what their child is successful at, but also what they need to work more at, we can make sure that we have the communication level with parent and teacher at a rate where their student will be successful no matter what, using the assessment that we're using.
Great. Well, thank you, Mr. Hoops. Is there anything else that you would like to add about the power of the DRA2 or anything else that you think parents should know as our school begins this journey?
The DRA2, one of the best things of it is, with being a summative assessment like it is, it does not put as much of the assessment in the hands of the teacher, but more the student. And what I mean by that is when we get into the comprehension aspect of it, the student is given a sheet where they have to fill things out. So it also ties into a lot of literacy elements with writing and things like that. So it doesn't just show us reading levels, but also shows us where they are at within writing as well. And what that can do for us is basically give us a picture on how they respond with literature and the way that they respond with it using writing. And that is one of the most strongest aspects that we can do, because literacy is the element that creates successful students in any subject matter, no matter what it is.
Great. Anything else you'd like to add?
DRA2, like I said, great with summative, great at getting a good picture of where they're going to be, and also gives us a good picture of where they could go on what we currently have.
Great. Well, thank you again so much for your time, Mr. Hoops, and good luck.
Thanks.
Hola! Wonderful! Who knew you were going to have an audience?
Matt knew him in the middle of it.
No, you did not.
Might have smiled a little bit.
Oh, stop. I don't think I even stopped this. Shucks.
You need that outtake. Should we do an outtake one just so we have that part of the film?
So if this is still running, is it still recording?
Anything in this bowl that's like
C808.